Welcome back to Sister Circle Live. Our next guest worked for justice during President Obama's administration and continues to fight for the fairness of all. Please welcome the Executive Director of the National Black Justice Coalition, David John.
Yes. First of all, happy to have you.
Can we talk about this shirt right
Come on
here?
now.
It's everything. I love that shirt. I love that shirt. But welcome to the show. For those people who don't know, what is NBJC?
Yes, I love y'all. Thank you for having me in this space. For those who don't know, the National Black Justice Coalition works to end racism and homophobia. We are the nation's only civil rights organization intentionally and unapologetically focused on those intersections.
That's good. Yeah,
Good,
that's really good.
Now, how does this organization help to ensure the health and wellness of people of color?
Yep. So we focus specifically on Black people. We acknowledge that a lot of the challenges that people of color face are compounded when you think about Black people. And so we respond to that in 3 ways. One, we remind people that as long as there have been Black people, there have been Black LGBTQ, or shame gender-loving people, which is the term that I use. It centers our Africanness. And 2, we then highlight the challenges that often go unnoticed. A significant one among us is the HIV epidemic, which since the introduction of it in the late 80s, continues to disproportionately affect Black people.
Yeah. And I got to believe that a lot of that is because there are a lot of misconceptions surrounding how is it actually transmitted. Can you talk a little bit to that for me, please?
Yeah, definitely. A part of why those rates are as high as they are because Black people live in spaces where we don't have access to health care, employment, or jobs, the kind of resources one needs in order to be happy, healthy, and whole. But the other part of that is the stigma surrounding the disease, right? And there's one of the reasons why shows like Pose are so important, because they highlight the way that we transmit misinformation about HIV. Things like you can get it from saliva or kissing someone. Those are factually inaccurate. It requires the transmission of bodily fluids. We don't talk about the fact that some people are born with it perinatally. Some people contract HIV through intravenous drug use. But then beyond that, we don't have enough conversations with intimate partners about our sexual health and wellness. We're not asking questions about sexual practices. Are you using condoms? If you're not using condoms, are you on PrEP? A pill that can reduce the likelihood of getting HIV, which so many Black people just simply don't know about. So some of it is the stigma and getting away from the shame, but some of it is also acknowledging that we have to talk more about the advancements in science and medicine.
So how many people in the Black gay community are we really talking about who could be potentially exposed?
So specifically within the Black gay community, everyone should know the CDC issued a stat a couple of years ago that literally broke my heart, and it said that every 1 in 2 men who have sex with men, that's the category that the CDC uses, will become HIV positive in their lifetime.
That's half of the men.
It is half of the men. It is one because Black gay men continue to be disproportionately affected by the disease. Unlike privileged white people who have the ability to come out, to move to spaces like Chicago or New York or LA, Black gay people live with other Black people. We live in the South, we live in the states where it's still illegal to discriminate against us, and we live in places where we don't have access to the information, to doctors who are culturally competent, and then the resources, right?
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Do you also think that that's a little bit dealing with being promiscuous?
No, not at all. So
think
let's
so?
clean this up,
Let's
and I'm
do
glad
it.
you asked the
'Cause
question.
I got a lot of real
No,
questions.
I appreciate it. Let's have the real talk. So many people assume that HIV rates are as prevalent as they are in the Black community because
Especially the Black gay males.
Black gay men in particular, but we also have to highlight Black trans women who are lumped into the category of Black gay men. But Black heterosexual women are significantly impacted by HIV.
Yes.
In 2015, 25% of all HIV infections, new cases, were
Black
women.
women.
Yeah.
Amongst that population, 60% were Black women. The next closest population is 19%, and that's Latina women.
So why are we being affected at this high of a rate?
Right,
Are
yes.
we not protecting ourselves? Are we trusting men too much who may not be telling a full disclosure of their sexual lives? What
It
exactly?
is D. It is all of the above.
Yes.
It is one, we don't have the language, and nor do we provide women space, which is why I'm an unapologetic feminist, to have those conversations, to say to your partner, who are you having sex with? How are you having sex? Are you using intravenous drugs? Are there things that you are doing that expose me to things that otherwise make it risky for me? That's one part.
So
the second thing is we don't even talk about bisexuality or what it means for us to acknowledge that sexuality is fluid.
Yes.
So that is a part of the conversation as well. But the last thing is we simply don't get tested. We don't even talk about testing. We will acknowledge a day, but we don't talk to our friends and do the we might now say mental health, are you good, bro? Are you good, sis? But we're not saying, when's the last time you've been tested? Can I go get tested with you? Can I stand with you and help you find the kind of support you need in order to be holistically healthy?
Do you believe that that is because a lot of us are very embarrassed of what the outcome may be, especially when you're looking to for someone to come and morally support you? You know, sometimes it's like, oh, do I want, what if I get a bad news in front of this person?
And then when I get that bad news,
the bad
what do I
news
do
is
with
not
it?
knowing,
Yeah,
right?
come on, that's good.
We now
That's
live
good.
at a point in time with, based on the science, the medicine, and the power of community and support, people can thrive with HIV. It is
Yes,
no
they
longer
can.
the death sentence that it was. And so we are embarrassed by anything. It should be that we are still allowing people to die when we don't have to.
that's the
And black
embarrassing
and brown
part of
people
it.
in particular. I also want to highlight, like, each of us have something that we don't want to talk about with an intimate partner. For some people, it's the amount of student loan debt they have. For some people, it's the mental health issues in their family. There's always something, but we exist to try and equip people with the language and the skills to create brave spaces where we can talk about things that are otherwise uncomfortable, but literally can save lives.
So what can a heterosexual female do to protect herself outside of using protection, of course? Because even last night when I was out, a guy introduced himself, said he was my husband. Then I get note, oh girl, he's gay. Real gay. So I had no idea who he was, and I was just being me, a dating female, without, and it came to me. I didn't invite it.
Yep.
So what are we supposed to do?
So
if we're...
let's unpack that. Regardless of his sexuality or sexual practices, one, abstinent is the only way to completely prevent against this. Two, condoms are a way to reduce risk. The third thing is to ask somebody for their status, and we can keep it real all the way. Ask them for their papers.
Yes.
Come on,
Right, we're in a
papers.
space
What are
now where
receipts?
people, I want receipts. I want to see the last time you were tested
Receipts.
so we can do this together. That is the surest way to be protected. The other thing that you should consider is PrEP, pre-exposure prophylactic. It is a pill. I take it every single day, and it significantly reduces the likelihood that I will contract HIV.
So is that, let me ask you this, is that like a vaccine? Because I really want, we were talking about this in the green room, and we were talking about PrEP. Is that like almost giving your body the actual pill to prevent you from...
It is not a vaccine in the way that we think about the flu. What it does is it blocks the part of the body that is otherwise receptive to the HIV virus. So it is preventative. But it is also a part of a holistic regimen where one should go and get tested every 3 months, where one should not be engaged in otherwise reckless behavior. We have to note that while PrEP is reducing HIV infection, we have seen increases in other sexually transmitted infections like gonorrhea and syphilis, which also then can increase the likelihood of getting HIV.
One more quick question, and I'm not going to ask anything else. Now, with this PrEP, I have a lot of gay friends, and I goes up for mine. I'm down for a lot of them, just, you know. So,
Everybody does.
I'm gonna let you answer this, but let us be clear: the HIV is
Not a gay disease.
There we go.
It is not a gay disease.
Of course not.
Yeah.
If you're having sex, you're susceptible to getting it.
Absolutely.
If you're having sex, that's everybody.
Yes.
Come on now. It's
Not
common
only
sense.
that,
Right.
but also if you're using intravenous drugs,
Yes.
that is another
Yes.
significant
Yes, there
challenge
you
in our
go.
community.
Or if you're born, because if your
You
mother
can get it
said that earlier.
perinatal.
Right.
your mother is
I
positive,
just want to
you
know
have
one
to-
question. How long, once you start the PrEP, how long do you have to take it? I've heard you have to take it for the duration of your lifespan. Is that true?
PrEP is a daily pill, and if you
For the
are
duration of your lifespan?
if you are engaging in the kind of intimate relationship where HIV exposure is a chance, you should take it for as long as you need to.
Wow. Okay. This is
you.
all amazing, important information. I'm so glad you are here. For more information on free testing in your area, go to nbjc.org. Stick around for what the people say. Oh my goodness, Mr. David Jones.
Thank you.